Hey guys, so for today's video, I'm really excited. I actually woke up this morning, wasn't planning on filming at all. I was planning on editing, but I don't know, I was on Twitter this morning, and again, for like the third morning in a row, I've seen so much controversy and talk about the new Anastasia Subculture palette, and I've literally just been seeing it for like 3 days in a row. Every morning I like go on my phone and go on Twitter, Instagram, whatever, and for like 3 days in a row on Twitter, it's just been like nonstop talk and controversy about the subculture palette. So I was like, okay, Amy, you need to get your little butt in your filming room and just film a first impressions on this. So here we are. I'm gonna do a first impression on the Anastasia Subculture palette. To be honest, when I received this in the mail as PR last week, I didn't think anything of it because I love the Anastasia Modern Renaissance. I just didn't think anything of it. And then when I was kind of shocked to see that there are some controversy around it, I will say right now I have not watched anybody's review because I didn't want to have any preconceived notions or any preconceived ideas or whatever. But of course, I mean, I've seen and heard the drama and stuff on Twitter and everything. So most of you guys know on my channel, we keep it 100% real and honest, but I know there's new subscribers, so I just feel the need to kind of state this is gonna be a 100% honest review. Honestly, you guys, I started YouTube in my room like filming on my webcam. I started YouTube for YouTube. Like I started it for the raw organic YouTube. You know what I'm saying? I feel like nowadays YouTube has really become a lot more about like the glitz and the glam and the events and the trips and the glamour, and it's just, and the PR. And for me, I just like to stick to the reason why I started YouTube, which is, you know, keeping it down to earth and just, I mean, I'm sitting in my beauty room right now in my house just talking to a camera. I mean, that's what I started doing and that's just what I continue doing. My loyalty is to you guys. It's not to companies. It's not to, you know, it's just to you guys. That's just why I started YouTube, and it's why I'll keep doing YouTube. I mean, I just felt the need to state that because I know with videos about like one product that's like hot and like controversial, I know they can get a little bit heated. So I want you guys to know, I mean, you're gonna get my honest opinion. Like I said, I haven't watched anyone's review, but I've seen what people have been talking about. So we're just gonna go ahead and try this. Okay, so this is how the palette looks. To be honest with you guys, I fell in love with the color scheme at first. It's not like the typical palette I would go for, but I feel like this palette would take me out of my comfort zone, but not too far out. So I already have some Tarte Concealer on here from when I did my concealer, and I'm just kind of like re-blending it out again. So I'm gonna start off with, actually, I don't know if that's gonna, yeah, no. I was gonna say I'm just gonna start off with this shade to set my lid, but that's not gonna work. So I am just gonna take some translucent powder. I'm really nervous, you guys. I mean, I don't know what I don't know what experience I'm gonna get from this palette. Some people are loving it, some people are hating it. So I'm just like wondering, you know, what my experience is gonna be with it. I guess we'll see. So I am gonna start off with this shade because it was really pretty. What's it called? Dawn? It looks like really light on the, in the palette, but not on my hand. So I know there's been, you know, talk about how they're so powdery that like, you know, they get used up quickly. Well, you guys just saw me dip into it once, and I mean, that's what I got. I feel like that's, I mean, I don't notice anything really different, you know what I'm saying? So let's just go ahead and start using this as a transition. Just gonna put that right into the crease. So it blends out really nicely in the crease, actually. I feel like that blended nicely, right? Dust off the brush and then blend. Yeah, that looks really beautiful. And that's like a really pretty unique transition shade. Like it's like a brown sand, but it has like a peach almost. Really pretty. I'm like addicted to it. I want to keep applying it. So next I want to switch over to this shade right here, and this is the shade Fudge. I feel like Anastasia has had this shade before, and I really love it. Yeah, I mean, these shadows are definitely, you know, they're definitely powdery, but I feel like that's because they're, I mean, so far at least, I feel like that might just be because they're super creamy. You can't really expect anything less. I feel like I grabbed a lot. Ooh, I should have done the other eye. So I'm just going to apply that on each of the eyes. So I just wiped off the excess product on the brush so that I can use this same brush to really blend this out. So this shade's not blending out as Like, I mean, you guys can see it live. I'm not gonna edit this. I'm gonna try not to edit this video as much. Not that editing is like horrible or anything, but you know, when you're shortening a video, you cut out like unnecessary parts. I'm gonna try to just keep in a good, like a lot of parts so you guys can almost see it almost as if it's live type of thing. I mean, it's blending, but it's a bit, I always find that darker shades are harder to blend anyways, you know what I mean? But I'm just, this shade is definitely not as easy to blend as the shade Dawn was. Yeah, Dawn. I feel like this is not blending out as easy, but it could be because it's sat on the, like, you know, on my eye longer since I did this one first. I also want to mention, like, I don't know what it is, you guys, but I really feel like in today's world, like, I don't want to be like, you know, it's not my taste to like, you know, throw shade or whatever, but in today's world, I really feel like we live in a world full of copycats, like people following the trends. And if the trend happens to be a certain product is bad, like if a good handful of popular people say that a product is bad, the rest of the world follows. And ooh, the product is so bad now. You know what I'm saying? Or if a good group of people say the product is amazing, then ooh, the product is so amazing now. Like, I feel like products are easily shamed and overhyped because people just follow what other people say very easily. That's why I was like, okay, Amy, don't watch any reviews, just try the palette. You know, just try the palette as if you know normally would. You know, try not to let what other people are saying influence you, because I'm telling you, I feel like when a group of people say something, then other people just agree with it even though they don't really, you know, feel the same. That's all I'm saying. Okay, so I'm actually gonna mix this shade with this shade, and I'm hoping to get like this, like, you know, orangey brown. Let's just see what I get. I don't even know what's going on here. Yeah. Okay. Not what I was going for. So I'm actually gonna go back into Fudge. And I'm just lightly applying that. I'm gonna go back into this brush. This is the Morphe M504. It's a great dupe for the original Sigma E40. You know how they changed the E40 and it's like super stiff now? But this is a great dupe for it. So now I'm going to dabble into this gorgeous shade right here. This is the shade Destiny. Ooh, very pigmented, so I did get some fallout. I mean, I'm okay with a little bit of fallout. Okay, I feel like that was so pigmented. I applied so much and now this look looks so dark. Like, oh my God. I applied so much. I mean, I actually didn't even really apply that much. I mean, I think I showed you guys me grabbing some. I feel like I didn't even dip into the palette that much, and look how pigmented it is. Whoa. Wowzers. I'm gonna have to go into this brush and really blend this out. So this is the palette right now. As you can see, there is quite a bit of kickback. You know, I just don't really mind that. I just kind of blow it off. I don't know. I'm not really too picky about that. I more care about how the shadows are gonna perform on the eyes. This eye look is looking so dark right now. Just so you guys know, I did not plan on this. That shade Destiny looks like a really pretty green in the pan, but on the eyes, it looks like I applied gray. So I'm not happy with that at all. Like, this looks like I applied black on my eye, like, you know, but it's clearly like a nice khaki green. I'm definitely disappointed in that, to be honest with you. But it did blend nicely, I feel like, you know, for a pretty dark shade. I feel like it did blend pretty nicely. So I might add just a little bit of Edge. So Edge turns out to be a really nice mustard shade, which is really pretty. I really, really, really want to play with this shade, but I feel like I've already added so many different colors to this look. What the heck, we're gonna go ahead and add Axis. Is that what it's called? AXIS, whatever. We're just gonna go ahead and see what happens here. Very pigmented again, like holy. So I just dusted off that brush so that I can go ahead and blend out that color. Yeah, these shadows are ultra pigmented, like ultra, like one of the most pigmented shadows I've ever worked with. So I felt like that transition shade got a little lost, so I just re-added the shade Dawn. To be honest with you guys, for a look that's like this dark, which I wasn't planning on, for a look that's like this dark, I mean, there's like barely any fallout underneath the eye, just a little bit that came out here, and that I probably could have dusted or tapped it off a little bit more. I'm gonna go ahead and take Dawn and apply that underneath the eye. I'm just gonna blend that out underneath the eye. I'm just taking a little bit of Fudge, which we clearly have seen goes a long way. A little definitely goes a long way with this palette, you guys. You do 100% not need to like take your brush and like, you know, dip it all in there. You just don't need to do that with this palette. It's ultra pigmented. Very, very, very pigmented. So I'm actually gonna clean up the lid a little bit. I don't want it to be a cut crease or anything, and I don't want it to be perfect at all. I just, I feel like the darker shade was brought down a bit too low. So I am going to just clean up the lid a little bit with the Tarte Concealer. So I'm gonna take my brush. Actually, we're gonna do it without it being wet. We're gonna try the shade Adorned. Yeah, I think that's the shade I really wanna try. It's like, it looks like a really beautiful bronze shade. So I'm gonna show you guys actually. Okay. Might be a bit hard to pick up on the brush, but I guess we'll see how it goes on the eye. So this is not wet yet. Wow. Okay. Wow. I'm gonna pick up a little bit more just to put it on the other side. Wow, you know what this reminds me of? The Dose of Colors Hidden Treasures palette, how it's like so pigmented. Whoa. Okay. Wasn't expecting that. Like I said, again, I guess a little goes a long way with this palette in every single way. Wow, I feel like I don't even need to try it wet. Should I still try it wet? Yeah, maybe I'll just... I feel like I wouldn't even... Yeah, I feel like it's... I mean, it's already like wet on its own, I feel like. So I feel like I just need to add a little bit more of Dawn and Fudge right here. I'm just gonna kind of touch that up. So I'm gonna go ahead, apply some mascara, apply some falsies, do my lip color, and then I'll be right back to kind of conclude my thoughts for you guys. All right, so I just popped on some falsies and a lip color, and I want to talk about and kind of conclude my thoughts on this palette. So when it comes to this palette, I think there's a couple things that I really like about it, and then there's a couple things that I really don't like about it. I almost I have a love and hate relationship with ultra pigmented products, because I feel like the more pigmented it is, I've always been a huge fan of, like, one of my biggest techniques in makeup is using less product at a time so that it's easier to blend. You know what I mean? Like, I'd rather dip into a shadow lightly, apply it, dip back, apply it, dip back, apply it. You know what I'm saying? To build the pigmentation, because I just find it's easier to blend that way instead of having like a ton of pigmentation right away and then blending it out. So I have a love and hate relationship with pigmented products. I like a good medium kind of coverage. I like to stay in that range except for foundation. Anyways, this is ultra pigmented, so I have like a love and hate thing with that, but I will say for it being ultra pigmented, they blend it out beautifully, except for this shade Fudge. I would say, like, take that out of the equation. This shade, although I was really disappointed, I mean, it's not even khaki on the eyes, it's completely charcoal gray. And I get that maybe Norvina wanted it to be charcoal gray, like maybe that's the color she wanted, but in the palette, when people see this, they're like, ooh, yay, a khaki green, oh, I'm gonna buy this palette, I love all these colors, and then they go and put it on the eyes, and it's just a different color than they expected. So I feel like it should match pretty close to what the palette shows. For a dark, dark, dark shadow, it blended really easily, and there wasn't any patchiness, it was really nice. Just this shadow, I find like when I put it on the eye, it kind of stuck in place and it was kind of hard to move around and sheer out and blend and smooth out. It was in the end able to blend, but it wasn't the most pleasant experience. But the other shades blended really nicely. I'm obsessed with this transition shade. Please, you guys, let me know if they have this transition shade in a single. Maybe I own it and I don't even know. I don't think I own it though. Yeah, I don't know if it's like a single shadow, but if it is, I need to get my hands on it. It's a beautiful transition, like perfect. This teal shade turned out really nice. Like it actually did look teal on the eyes. It's just this shade didn't. But yeah, other than that, I mean, I think they're ultra pigmented. For the most part, most of the shades blended beautifully that I tried. The only thing is there was a ton of kickback on the palette, which doesn't really bother me. I mean, I'm the type that if there's a ton of kickback, I just take the palette and blow it off. I feel like maybe I should try a couple of the other shades. I definitely think I need to try this for a second time to see if I will be using this palette. But this shade, beautiful. Like, so electric on the eyes, amazing. You didn't even need to wet it. So I feel like there are pros and cons with this palette. So yeah, you guys, that concludes my thoughts on the Anastasia Subculture palette. So I hope that this was a really helpful, honest review. Let me know down below what your guys' thoughts were, because you actually saw me blending them out live for the most part. I mean, I had to edit some out, so it's not super long video, but for the most part, you guys saw me kind of edit it almost kind of live. So let me know what your guys' thoughts are. Hopefully you do enjoy this look. It didn't turn out exactly what I thought it was gonna be. I thought it was gonna be like a bronze with khaki and mustards, and it turned out to be like a smoky copper. Anyways, hopefully you still enjoy it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys. Mwah.